Do that. You can send it to me.
Okay.
Okay.
I also have a transcribe tool, so I can send you even the transcription.
Okay.
So the first question, just very broad. What made you decide to memorialize your mother through a scholarship specifically?
Well, let me say I was a student at Liberty University for 9 years, and my major was in psychology. And then I kind of went to Christian counseling. And as I began to go through my journey of my academics, I began to uh, confront what I was kind of suppressing about dealing with the loss of my mom by the way of suicide. And of course, when I was on my academic journey, I had to, look at behavior issues and personality disorders. And I just began to see perhaps what my mom was going through undiagnosed. And as years went by, as I saw myself advancing from my bachelor's degree to my master's degree, when I began my doctoral journey, I said, as I see myself coming to an end, I wanted to do something to memorialize, as you mentioned, the memory of my mom, to raise the awareness of mental health in our communities. So the more I thought about it, the closer I became or got closer to the degree ending. I did a little Google search, and believe it or not, bold.org was the first organization that came up. And I remember I reached out to Calvin, and I saw he had done something very similar about his mom. And so we chatted for a moment, and he said, if you're really serious about doing this, he gave me the details how to make it happen. And I moved forward, and here we are. That scholarship has been a blessing to see it come to fruition, just by having that desire to want to, again, raise the awareness of my mom's memory, and to also help upcoming college students who are, in school, want to achieve a degree program, but of the financial responsibility that comes behind that.
It has been a really inspiring scholarship for all of us. We talk about it all the time, and it's the second time running now, right?
Yes, the second time, yes.
All right. And when you were envisioning the scholarship, what kind of impact did you want to create?
Wow, the impact that I wanted to create was, first of all, you know, uh, there's a stigma of an individual who commits suicide or dealing with mental health issues, the shame, the pain, the hurt. And I said, well, if we would confront it head on in a way of giving back to others, and to see if you are going through certain mental health crisis, not to feel embarrassed, not to feel ashamed, but speaking your truth, letting people know your heart, and how you can, turn that pain into something else. And by it being at the level that it's become, people from all over can, submit essays. And then, of course, it affords me an opportunity to have discussions about mental health. So I think that impact alone has really been inspiring to me. People, reach out to me and, thank me for sharing my story, because, my story one day, no doubt, will become a book, because I was 11 years old when I lost my mom, and the impact I had on my life, it was just, I don't want to see another young boy or young girl at the age of 11 years old, as I was, to go through what I went through without having someone to come alongside them to help them get through those days of feeling abandoned, feeling, what did I do that may have caused this? And there was nothing that I did, just the pain that my mother was carrying. People that deal with mental health issues such as suicide ideation, she saw no other way out but to take that escape. But when they take that, when a person takes that route, or I don't want to say that route, but take that means of in their life, the pain that they leave, that they hope to escape, it transfers to those who are living. So the impact of this scholarship, when I see my mom's name and I see the donors who contributing to that, reading the story, it makes me feel like her living was not in vain.
That's very important.
Yes.
And and when you started creating the scholarship with Calvin, you were from the time you submitted your first proposal and you saw it live. Was
Right.
it like right away exactly what you wanted, or what made you really create that process?
Oh, wow. It was really, let me say this, the artwork that he created with the hand and the colors, it was just, it was eye-catching, and it had a strong message. You know, it's like the hand was reaching out to the world that here we are through bold.org. This man has started a scholarship. And mind you, it was only $500. But as the time went on and the people began to sow and the donors began to give, it began to increase. And, you know, I would share it on my social media, and I would share it among my church community, the workplace where I work, and in my employment. And the people just wanted to do it. It was just a time of my life that they saw the passion. First of all, you know, as I said, I've been talking about this mental health issues for years with my school at Liberty University. You know, I'm a part of the American Association of Christian Counselors with Dr. Tim Clinton. So, you know, I go to conferences that address mental health issues. So I began to embody what I believed in, and to see it in a pictorial view, you know, with the website launching, the name and the donor, the sponsor, and the essay and my story. You know, I want to show this. You see this wrist game that I have.
Yeah.
I created this with the colors of the emblem or the picture that your
Oh,
organization made. A good friend of mine, he does wrist games, Kevin Bond. And so this is what I do. If something is in my heart, I look at other ways that I can raise the awareness. So the wrist game is one. I also design T-shirts with a company in our community, a company named Copy and Go in Trotwood, Ohio. And she created a T-shirt for me. And I also made mouse pads
oh wow.
with the scholarship emblem. And for those who would donate, I would mail them the mouse pad. So that's really how seeing that come to fruition on the website, as you asked the question, it really blessed me.
Nice. That's amazing. That's such a beautiful story. And so once the scholarship was out, let's talk about the first donors. What was that process like? How did I know some of them were members of your community, but were they all members of the community, or were there other people as well?
There were other people as well, you know, who doesn't live right in my local community, by me sharing it on social media. You know, social media is a great platform. And with that platform from Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, you know, as your organization supports those platforms, I had donors who were from afar who gave, and that was exciting. You know, I had donors give as much as $500 from their organization, and even a personal donor gave 500. And of course, you know, with the tokens, you know, that helped as well with what as we were giving, and for myself, I give weekly just of my own means, because you know it was on my heart.
Yeah.
And you know, many times when I see when a person has a vision, you sow into what you believe in. And I believe in the scholarship, and I believe, as you asked a question about what kind of impact, you know, to see a young man or young woman have some financial support, to be debt free, possibly with scholarship funds, that blesses my heart, you know, because,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a student. I mean, I was a student, and yeah, I have student debt loan, you know,
Yep.
so, and I'm like, wow, you know, if I can help someone along this way, uh, that's what I'm about. I'm about giving, about sharing, having a heart of empathy and concern and care, and to see someone achieve their goals. I mean, reading the essays of the students that submitted the essays, oh my God, that was really a moment for me when I would read the essays, because I begin to hear other person's stories, and you never know who you're sitting next to or who you're talking to who may have gone through a mental health issue, or even someone they may have known. And they were really very touching stories, essays.
And how many essays do you think you read when you were receiving some
Oh,
of the
wow.
applications?
I think I read hundreds of them,
Yeah.
because I wanted to read them just to kind of have a feel of, what people were thinking.
Mhm.
And but I began to see it grow so much. I'm thinking, oh wow, how can I manage this? And thankfully, with your organization, your team of individuals, they help, raise the level, or how can I say the word I'm looking for? Sequence them and what they feel are more, you know, redeemable for as a scholarship. And
Yeah.
so that's been helpful. But when I get the spare time, I'll log on, I'll read, and
Mhm.
I'll put a stars by whatever I see, because these are person's real stories.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm sure there. I read some of the winning ones, but they were very powerful.
Hmm.
And this scholarship specifically has very, very powerful essays.
Yes.
Um, and because they were so great, what made you decide on the finalists and the winners?
Well, I think, I'll say this to all who submit this for the scholarship: all of you are winners, because because you have taken the courage to
Mhm.
share your story. But of course, we were only able to select initially one individual, and then there was one, and so then I broadened it to two as the pot grew. So as I began to read the essays, one of my professors in college always shared with me. His name was Dr. Fred Volk. He would say, Terrence, when we read our peer evaluations, he would always say, there's always a good sentence that would stand out. And as I read books, even to this day, if a good sentence or good phrase is there that jumps in out at me, I'll write it out and I'll hashtag it. So as I was reading these essays, it was a male and a female,
Mhm.
and the gentleman, he spoke about, he quoted something from something that impacted his life. And when I read that, I'm like, oh my God, out of his story and how he ended it with that strong message, it hit me right there. I mean, it gets your gut, and it's like gets your heart. And then the young female, she was a senior in high school. The male was, I think, it's like his junior year in college, so he was been in school for a while. And then the female, she was a high school senior going to college, and she began to speak about what she went through personally, and how she didn't like to smile. She was dealing with things in her own personal life, but then she found a way to bring a smile to her life. And I thought that was such a moment, because people who walk in maybe depression and emotional fear and shame, and don't feel like they're loved or appreciated, they have to know that they're valued and that their life matters. And an organization like bold.org is here to help make an impact in your lives by the scholarships. I mean, you have a plethora of scholarships. It's across the board, that I've even shared along with my scholarship. It's not about me. We're in this together, and all the scholarships that your organization have awarded and afforded to other people, I've shared them on my Facebook social media posts.
Yeah, we're very proud about where we are right now, and hopefully we'll get more and more scholarships so we can help more more
Yes.
students. We'll get there.
Okay.
I'm very curious about what that quote was. Maybe you can share it with us afterwards, or I'll find it on the
Okay.
application.
Yeah. It's there.
Yeah, now I have to find it.
Yeah. That quote was really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. So when you look back at the experience, especially after that first time that you ran the scholarship,
Mhm.
and how did you feel right afterwards, after the first winner was selected, and
Mhm.
did you speak to him or
No, I didn't. I was able to, I inboxed
mm,
both of them, but I
okay.
got a response from the young female, and she
Hmm.
thanked me, and she was like, "Oh wow, I didn't know," or how it came about her getting awarded. But what blessed me in the end of the process was that the scholarship ends in July of 2022. Well, it
Mhm.
was July 2021, which was July 13th, which was would have been my mom's birthday. So that was a special moment for me to see the winners awarded on her scholarship. Remember, it goes back to why I established the scholarship, why did I want to memorialize her life, her name, and by with the scholarship. And what better way, as I talked with Calvin, he and I talked about it. He said, a good time will be her birthday. So July of every year, because this is going to be an ongoing thing for
Yeah.
me. I don't want to stop it. I just wanted to expand and grow and go beyond it's already exceeded my my expectations. It has done that. But to see it, and to see the gratitude and appreciation, because, you know, uh, every little bit helps.
Yeah.
And, I live in Ohio, and this is what I'm thinking. I even want to go to a school and just want to present in addition to the scholarship, keeping what I've got going. But maybe I may say, I want to just take $500 from my own personal means and go to a high school and say, I want to award this scholarship of $500, the Ethel Hayes, the Destigmatization Scholarship of Mental Health, right there in our community where I lived, because I'm
Mhm.
around everybody every day. But, I'm not, I'm unbiased. You have to be unbiased. You can't say, people that don't know me, I'll say, submit your scholarship. But because you know me, doesn't mean you're gonna be awarded. Because we have to be
Right.
fair. You
Yeah.
know, but I tell them apply, go for it. Because you never know.
Yeah.
But so yes, that's very rewarding, seeing it happen, and the release date and the recipients being awarded and receiving the scholarship. It is very, very rewarding.
Good. And um, what do you feel that the scholarship means to the legacy of your mom?
That her name will not be forgotten. That her life of 29 years, the mother, a wife of 5 children, one of her children decided, because I was, they tell me that I was my mom's heart, and that means a lot to me, because to hear that I was her heart, because I felt her pain. I watched as I saw what she was going through. I didn't really know what it was, but I knew it was a struggle. But now, after me growing up, as I said, with the shame and embarrassment of the stigma, especially in the African American community, it was like you don't talk about your problems, you just deal with it. So, as I said earlier, I suppressed those. But the more I began to get the healing, first of all, my faith in God. My faith in God was my saving grace. Because my mom, she was a Christian woman. And she left me, when I say she left me, she introduced the church to me. So there was a passage of scripture that really carried me through. Thou will keep them in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee. That became a saving grace for me. But as I said, as you mentioned, how does this feel to see the legacy of my mom continue on? This scholarship is that for me. Her name will not be forgotten. And as I, promote it, as I share my story of one day write my book, I even wrote my own book when I finished my degree program, The Resilience and Success of African American Pastors. And in my biography, I was able to include the scholarship.
Nice.
So it's already in a book form that the people can apply for the scholarship. So that was special as well.
That's beautiful. And I was thinking that with the mouse pads and with the shirts, that it's kind of amazing that someone every day when they sit down and they're going to do their work, they're going to see her name and they're
Yes.
going to remember something wonderful that they did, you know?
No, I'm glad you said that because now let's say for the donors that I can't reach like that through the website, I mean through the program, I don't have their mailing address. I wish there was a way, I'm not saying that,
Mhm.
that somehow the donors that I can get to, that I could share the mouse pad or something. Because right now, the owner of the organization here, of the company business here in Trotwood, Ohio, she's going to create maybe a book bag for me.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, really, a book bag? She's like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's make a book bag, with the
Nice.
scholarship emblem. So
Yeah.
any way we can do that, that's what it helps raise the awareness.
And it is a beautiful logo too. It's very eye catching as well.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm going to make a note to see if we can reach out to the donors so that if they're interested, they can share
Right.
their address with you.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, I want to make sure I don't forget.
No problem.
So, with your overall experience, would you say that bold.org did help you reach your mission?
As I said, bold.org exceeded my greatest expectations. The mission has been accomplished because to start from 500 to end with 7201, I believe it was 7201.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, how did that happen? And it's because again, the message, you have to push the message. Me as being the visionary, I push the message, and I invest every time I get a paycheck or I get an extra dollar, I put it right in it and just watch it grows. And I know it's more blessed to give than to receive. So to see it grow, knowing that it's going to be given to someone else, thanks to bold.org, that is happening. So I can't thank you guys enough for the great work you're doing along with me. Because I can't do this by myself. Because in my mind, I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. But Calvin he was a great help. He emailed me, make sure if when it went live, I'm like, wow, it's really live now. It's really in real time, it's really happening. So yes, thank you again, bold.org. I salute you for your great work.
Well, and right back at you. I mean, we can't do it without you either. And
Yes,
it's
okay.
success stories like yours that really make what we do every day like important and why it matters, right? So,
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
if you are to run either the same or a different scholarship, what part of the process would you change?
Oh, what part of the process? If I would, like I said, run the same scholarship, what part of the process? Like I mentioned about the donors who give, wanting to give them something, and it's like my thank you for them. Because when someone supports what you do, you want to thank them. You want a thank you card, or
Yeah.
like I said, an emblem, something they can, as you said, a mouse pad or book bag or pen with the name, that they know that this is something that I contribute to, and I can see it, and I see the impact it has had in the life of others. That's about the one thing that I could say, because other than that, the message, the essays, is open for all applicants. It's not just a specific major, because mental health issues impact all of our lives.
Yeah.
No
So
matter what degree, scholarship, major your person's pursuing. So I didn't want to just make it about psychology majors, that would make it limited.
yeah.
So this is a global, a global problem in the world, through this pandemic. A lot of people dealt with depression you know, even young people. And so to have a way to express your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, and then be possibly awarded for it through the scholarship. Because, college kids, they want to succeed. And, some of the essays, these students had to step out of their programs for a while, to get their mental health in order together before they could finish. And that blessed me as well because they pressed through, they persevered, they found the fortitude and the resilience to come back to finish. So, so I was blessed by that as well.
Good. And there are the two parts too. I think there's the strength that these students are portraying, but also I think scholarships like you really show that there's a community that cares and supports and is bringing awareness to it. So it's becoming, like you mentioned before, it's normalizing conversations around mental health, which was
Yeah,
really not something that was done in the past,
right.
sadly.
Yes, ma'am. And we can appreciate, there's different months out of the year that acknowledge mental health issues and things of that nature. But I spoke with a young man. He lives in Akron, Ohio. His name is Emmanuel Turner, and he and I did a dialogue about mental health. It was in the month of October. I think it was a Mental Health Awareness Day or week or
Mhm.
something. But while we were talking, he said, Terrence, he said, there's never really a month that we can't talk about mental health, you know, because it happens. There are mental health issues that are going on in people's lives every day. So even like today, this is a great opportunity for me to talk about something I love because, I know the interview and the conversation will bless someone else's life, in the midst of it all. So yeah, thank you again for that. I found the scholarship. I'm going to get that quote.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Oh, here it is right here. My favorite motivational speaker, Eric Thomas, once said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. And I bring this mindset and work ethic with me in whatever I do. When I read that, that just, ah,
Mhm.
of all what he said, go back to what I said about Dr. Volk and those great sentences when people write and everything you write is passionately, your words, but you never know what stands out that will really get to you. And so I'm so glad for the young man, Genario Tachia, who was the winner of that scholarship. So thank you again, Genario, for those words and your essay. It was really impactful. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a really powerful statement.
Yes, it is. Yes. And I like to say this, the young lady, she spoke a lot of great things. She said, uh, through the church, the things I never saw myself doing became the norm for me, such as counting hymn books, making church programs, and playing the piano during worship. But one of the most important things I've gained from being in a church, however, is the community service opportunities and the sense of togetherness it entailed. So I think, I'm a pastor too. So as a pastor, when we see people coming together through community, and connecting, that is so important because people need community and people need to feel connected. And this young lady felt connected with her church, and as I said, what she had been through in her own personal life. So that that had an impact on me as well. Community is important. As you said, did this scholarship just maybe reach anyone outside of my local community? It went beyond my 454 zip code. Okay, so that's the global impact for me.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And if you knew, if for example you met someone that wanted to have their own way of memorializing someone, perhaps, or maybe just create an impact, or making some, they want to change the world in some way,
Yes.
would you recommend scholarships as a way to do it, or what would you suggest?
I will most definitely say that a scholarship is a way to do that. You know, look at the world today. We've had so much grief and loss. And I look at persons who share their story, their pain, and I look how I had a painful story. I had a big loss. But I go back to what I said, you know, we can take our grief and our pain and our loss and channel it another way. And to do that in memory of your loved one, and a scholarship for me, it's an easy process. You know, it can be, you know, you set the mark that you want to begin, and to just see it come to pass. And that goes back to the reward of seeing your loved one's name memorialized and not forgotten, just by the impact of having a scholarship. So I love the fact of scholarships being a way of doing
I agree. Well, we agree, obviously.
that.
And if let's say that person wanted to start their own scholarship, what would you recommend for them as maybe a new donor or someone that's just starting to think about it?
Well, I would certainly tell them, of course, connect with, you know, your organization, because your team of persons will certainly walk them through the process, let them know what's required and what they need to do, even creating a logo or image of what their logo is all about. Make it meaningful, make it impactful. When you make it meaningful and impactful, it all come and to see it all come together. It's just like, wow. So this is what I thought about in my mind. Now I see it coming into real time. And you know, like I said, www.bow.org is a great organization. Your organization made it happen. You brought this to life. So if there's others who want to bring something to life, a scholarship, and don't know where to begin or where to start, bow.org.
Talk to Calvin.
Talk to Calvin. There you go. And
Yeah.
hey, I'll lead you to him.
Yeah, good. And for creating the message, because I think your message is very, very powerful. And what would you suggest to someone that wants to create that kind of impact?
I would say, once you live through your own personal story, there's something we do in counseling. I'm a pastoral counselor, and I teach a course at Liberty University about pastoral counseling. And there's a process in the story that we talk about: tell your present story. And you are the expert of your own story. You're the expert of the self. And just telling your present story, just let the words flow. And then as you tell the present story, it begins to help you open up from maybe any fears or inhibiting yourself to want to share what you may not want to maybe disclose, but you present it from the heart, and then you tell your present story. And then as you tell your present story, it just expands more, because now you're willing. You want this to be known. You want this to be told. You won't be satisfied until it's done. So I think having that mindset and having those thoughts and those what's in you, buried in you, what's in your heart and mind, somebody else will be impacted by it. You don't know who is gone, who is going through what you've gone through, and your story be like, oh, I was not alone. Someone else felt the same pain. Let me say this, not the same pain, because all of our pain is different, but we felt something from the loss, from the grief. And now I'm doing this, and I'm bringing this story to life, and I'm making the scholarship happen. And it's no longer an imagination, it's a reality. Yeah.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. And yes, it does connect you. And you're right, no two pains are the same, but it is good to be connected and to feel at least understood, if that makes
Understood.
sense.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Like you said, it makes sense. Sometimes, as I said, people never know what you go through. But, like my high school peers, when I begin to tell my story, I've been out of school for 42 years, 41 years. And I started talking about my mom's death and suicide maybe 2 years ago. And my peers said, I didn't know that you had gone through that because I didn't talk about it. You see, when you don't talk about something, there was a reason why. And that's why when I was talking with Calvin, he said he came up with the word destigmatization. That helped me because we wanted to remove that. So sharing that and taking away the stigma, it helped me unashamedly tell my story. And others that didn't know it, now they know it. So now through this scholarship, they know what 11-year-old Terrence went through. My mom's been deceased 48 years. And here I am telling her story now, 48 years later. And I never thought it would be like this. Yeah.
And what do you think the future holds for the Ethel Hayes Scholarship and now Foundation?
Well, I think the future holds. I look at the future brightly for her as the donors give and see the impact that is touching the lives of others, individuals, and through scholarships and awarding of funds to help them defray. I love how your organization wants to help diminish debt, to be debt free. Yeah, I like that, to be debt free. What college student want to be debt free? And just
Right.
seeing this means in itself is a blessing to me because I have grandchildren. I'll share with them, hey, go apply for scholarships. Go to
Yeah.
bold.org. They got all kind of scholarships. And to see that happen in their lives, I'll feel good about that because as I make it happen in someone else's life, there's others who doing the same. As I said, we all are in this together. No man is an island, no man stands alone. I used to sing that song in high school. Each man's grief is joy to me. Each man's grief is my own. So yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Wow. I like that. It's a movement.
It's a movement. That's a
Yes.
good word. That's a good movement. Yeah. And as a songwriter, I write songs. I wrote a song about I can face the day of a brand new dawning. And when I launched the website, the scholarship, I took that song on my church website, and the lyrics are like, I can face the day of a brand new dawning. Every time I wake up to see the sunshine in the sky. When I look into the hill from where my help comes from, I can feel the warmth rising from the rising sun. And I talk about there are trials that we may face. And a person that go through depression and mental illness issue, they have pressure and pain and grief to bear. But somehow we can face the day of a brand new dawn, and we can overcome our darkness. We can overcome our shame, our grief, and our hurt. So that's another way. I even thought about writing a song for the scholarship. I believe I will. One of my sons is a great song. He's a Grammy Award nominee. His name is Troy Hayes, and I'm going to get him to write me a little jingle or something.
Nice. Yes, we would love that.
A jingle, yeah, and somehow
Yes.
put it out with the message of the song. I would love to see that kind of mechanics going on as you ask if I could see something different. A little jingle with the song of the scholarship and the message, the creativity of it. But there go my mind. So you got my mind going there.
Good. I'm glad to hear.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, I'm not going to take much more of your time. I want to thank you so much for speaking with me. And was there anything else you want to share
Oh,
about
wow.
your journey, about the scholarship?
Well, thank you again, Mariana, for your time, and www.org for your reaching out to me and feeling that my story it met a need for your organization. And if we can do that for each other, it's a done deal. And just again, I'm going to continue to promote the scholarship. I'm going to share, if you allow me, this interview, because
Of course.
it'd be another moment of people just seeing the impact of what their contribution will do. As you make your contribution, and so you get a tax-free deduction. I love that. The organization will send you your email, let you know about that. And I love that. I mean, the efficiency of what you guys do is like, once you do it, bam, it's like, wow. So, and I love that. So you're giving to a great cause. You're giving to a great work, and we're in this together. We want to help remove the stigma and the shame of mental health illnesses, and I'm thankful to see Ethel Hayes' name not forgotten by the scholarship, and I think as it grows and more applicants apply, you can be the next recipient of this scholarship. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Hayes. Honestly, this was incredible. This
Thank
is
you. I
my first
appreciate it.
conversation with a donor, and I'm so happy it
Oh,
was you.
wow. Well, I'm glad. Thank you.
Yes.
I was so excited. I'm
Oh,
honored.
good.
I'm humbled. Again, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And you're just such an inspiring speaker. I really hope we can use parts of the video,
Okay.
and that would be great. I think it would be very inspiring for students, but also for potential donors.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'll let you go. Have a
Okay.
wonderful rest of your week.
Okay. And I'll be looking forward to the link.
Yes, we'll send it.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you. Bye.
Bye.